Hi friends! This week is our last week of school and there's no theme. Not really learning about anything in particular, so I thought I would just read you some of my favorite books. And this is one of my favorite books. It's about a bull named Ferdinand. And you might have seen this character in a movie that was out not long ago. And it's the story of Ferdinand, but the story started out as a book, and it was written a long time ago. I want to show you. In the front of a book, we haven't ever talked about this, but there's these little tiny letters and words at the beginning of a book, and it tells us where the book was made, and it tells us when it was made. This book was made in the year 1936. Oh my goodness. Let me do some math. Let's see. 56, 66, 76, 86, 96, 06, 16. Whoa. 84 years ago, this book was made. This book is 84 years old, but it's a great story. And it's by a man named Munro. And I hope you enjoy it. All of the pictures are black and white. They're not in color, but it's a wonderful story. Okay, so here we go. Now, our story takes place in Spain. Here's America, and if you travel across the Atlantic Ocean, you travel west across the Atlantic Ocean, you could visit Spain. And there's even a little bull right there. I know it's hard to see, but fix my map. But our story takes place in Spain. Once upon a time in Spain, there was a little bull, and his name was Ferdinand. All the other little bulls he lived with would run and jump and butt their heads together. But not Ferdinand. He liked to sit just quietly and smell the flowers. He had a favorite spot out in the pasture under a cork tree. It was his favorite tree, and he would sit in its shade all day and smell the flowers. Sometimes his mother, who was a cow, she would worry about him. She was afraid he would be lonesome all by himself. She was worried he would be lonely. Why don't you run and play with the other little bulls and skip and butt your head, she would say. But Ferdinand would shake his head. I like it better here, where I can sit just quietly and smell the flowers. His mother saw that he was not lonesome, and because she was an understanding mother, even though she was a cow, she let him just sit there and be happy. As the years went by, Ferdinand grew and grew until, whoa, he was very big and strong. So it says this was him at a week old, 3 months old, 1 year old. Now he's 2 years old, but he's full grown. All the other bulls who had grown up with Ferdinand in the same pasture, they would fight each other all day. They would butt each other and stick each other with their horns. What they wanted was to be picked to fight at the bullfights in the city of Madrid. So they see a poster about the bullfights. Oh, but not Ferdinand. He still liked to sit just quietly under the cork tree and smell the flowers. One day, 5 men came in very funny hats to pick the biggest, fastest, roughest bull to fight in the bullfights in Madrid. It's a city in Spain. Now, all the other bulls ran around snorting and butting and leaping and jumping, so the men would think that they were very, very strong and fierce and pick them. Ferdinand, he knew they wouldn't pick him, and he didn't care. So he went out to his favorite cork tree to sit down. He didn't look where he was sitting. Instead of sitting on the nice, cool grass in the shade, He sat on a bumblebee. Well, if you were a bumblebee and a bull sat on you, what would you do? You would sting him, and that's just what the bee did to Ferdinand. Wow! Did it hurt? Ferdinand jumped up with a snort. He ran around puffing and snorting and butting and pawing the ground as if he were crazy. See the bee? The 5 men saw him and they shouted with joy. Here was the largest and fiercest bull of all. This was just the bull for the bullfights in Madrid. So they took him away in a cart for bullfight day. What a day it was! Flags were flying, bands were playing music, and all the lovely ladies had flowers in their hair. They had a parade into the bull ring. First came the banderilleros with their long, sharp pins with ribbons on them to stick in the bull to make him mad. Next came the picadores, who rode skinny horses, and they had long spears to stick in the bull and make him madder. Then came the matador, the proudest of all. He thought he was very handsome, and he bowed to the ladies. He had a red cape and a sword, and he was supposed to stick the bull last of all. Then came the bull. You know who that was, right? Ferdinand. They called him Ferdinand the Fierce. And the banderilleros were afraid of him. And the picadores were afraid of him. And the matador was scared stiff. Ferdinand ran to the middle of the ring, and everyone shouted and clapped because they thought he was going to fight fiercely and butt and snort and stick his horns around. But not Ferdinand. When he got to the middle of the ring, he saw the flowers in the lovely lady's hair. Ah, he sat down quietly and smelled. He wouldn't fight and be fierce no matter what they did. He just sat and smelled. And the banderilleros were mad, and the picadores were mad. And the matador was so mad he cried because he couldn't show off with his cape and sword. So they had to take Ferdinand home. And for all I know, he is sitting there still under his favorite cork tree, smelling the flowers, just quietly. He is very happy. The end. I hope you like that story. I think it was a good one. Ferdinand, he's just a quiet, gentle character, and he found what made him happy. I hope you liked it. Okay, that was the story of Ferdinand. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.